Good morning to you, my highly esteemed students. I believe you are doing fine. It's a privilege again to have you online for this very crucial class. To be candid, I must tell you the facts that I envy you and I wish this medium of learning was available in our days. But I must appeal to you, please make judicious use of this medium. Make effective use of it because it is helping greatly and I believe it will help you also. Today we'll be considering sentence analysis. Remember, I remain Dakpo Odimoloye. Let's go through our objectives briefly. Number one, at the end of the class, you should be able to define sentences. You should be able to state what a sentence is. Number two, you should be able to identify sentences easily. You should be able to note easily that this group of words is a sentence, this is not a sentence. Number three, you should be able to explain types of sentences based on functions. Number four, explain types of sentences based on structure. And lastly, you should be able to identify these types of sentences easily in paragraphs. You have to note them easily in paragraphs. Before we go to the contents for the day, let's do the correction to our previous assignment. In last class, I taught adverbs. And I said you should go home and underline all adverbs in the 10 sentences I gave out. Let's go through them briefly. Number one, I said, Peter slowly swallowed the syrup. Slowly there is telling you how it was swallowed. That's an adverb and it's telling you about manner. Then, Rock looked at the undertaker. How? Violently. That's telling you the manner. Violently there is our adverb, telling us how the verb was done. Jackie is walking to office leisurely. Jackie is walking to office leisurely. Leisurely there is our adjective, is our adverb. It's telling you how the walking was done. Also, Shania patted on the back on the puppy gently. Shania patted on the back of the puppy. How? Gently. This tells us how the patting was done. Number 5, here it is. This is an adverb of place. Here. Telling us where the thing is. Here it is. Number 6, driver rode children quickly to school. Driver rode children quickly to school. Quickly here is telling us how the verb ride was conducted. Samuel did all the sums correctly. How? Did all of them correctly. Telling you how the sum was done. Telling you about the verb. Number 8, the scratch on his jeep was clearly visible. How visible? Clearly visible. This is an adjective that is qualifying this adverb, qualifying this adjective. This is an adjective. Then number 9, this problem is too difficult. Difficult here is also an adjective, and this THTOO2 is qualifying or modifying difficult, telling you how difficult it is. Then they went out over there. This is an adverb of place, an adverb of place. Then to the main reason for this class, I have exposed you to phrases. I said a phrase is a group of words that is grammatically meaningless, group of words that is meaningless, whereas a clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb and is grammatically meaningful. And I splitted clauses into 2 types. I said we have 2 types of clauses. We have the dependent clause and the independent clause. But today we want to see something similar to an independent clause, which is a sentence. Like I said here, a sentence is a set of words that is complete in itself. Complete in itself. That is, it contains a subject, a predicate, and it conveys a statement. It conveys meaning. Note these three factors. It has a subject, it has a predicate, and it conveys meaning. And they can be used to ask questions. It can be exclamation in form. It can be a command. And mostly, a sentence is mostly a main clause. That is an independent clause. And at times, it can have more attachments. That is, you can combine it with one or more subordinate clause or even another main clause. And like we all know, this is the largest unit of grammar. Sentence is the largest unit of grammar. Who can tell me the smallest unit of grammar? Anybody? The smallest unit of grammar. Anybody? That is your alphabet. That's the smallest unit. And the smallest unit of any sound is your morpheme. Is your morpheme. Sound is morpheme. Then grammar is smallest unit of grammar is your alphabet. And like you have it here, capital letter. A sentence must start with capital letter, end with a period, that is a full stop, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. That is anything that starts with this, end with either this, or this, or this, is a what? Is a sentence. Then, for emphasis sake, let's see some facts about sentences. But one, I said it must start with a capital letter, end with a full stop or an exclamation mark or a question mark. Like I said it is the largest independent unit of grammar. That is, it requires no attachment. It can work meaningfully on its own. Like I said here, it is meaningful on its own. And I said it can be simple, complex, compound, or even compound complex, which I know include here. It can be compound complex. Then it is a must that a sentence must have a subject and a predicate. And your predicate is a verb and its complement and its accompaniment. Then, to examples of sentences now. All I have here are examples of sentences. Brad came to dinner with us, starting with a capital letter, ending with a full stop, and it's quite meaningful. It is quite meaningful. It has a subject and it has a verb. Here also we have a subject here, we have a verb here. This is a capital letter, this is a full stop, telling you that it is a sentence because it is meaningful. It is what? Meaningful. Here we also have I being the subject, full stop is here at the end, and we have subject here. We have a subject here, we have a subject here, we have one here, telling you that this is a meaningful sentence, though a complex one, not a simple sentence. Don't worry, when we come to the middle of the class, you'll see what a simple sentence is and what a complex sentence is. Then, this is a question that can be referred to as a statement because it starts with a capital letter. Did you know that along with gorgeous architecture, it is home to the largest Tamil? Here we have a question here and there are verbs inside, which makes it a statement. We call it an interrogative statement. Oh, how would I love to go to Manchester? Wow. It's a place I want to go to also because that's my favorite club. It has a subject. The subject is I here. The verb has been underlined for you as loved. And mind you, starting with a capital letter and ending with an exclamation mark. These are examples of sentences. Then let's go to types of sentences based on function. We have sentences based on two criteria. We have that of functions and that of structure. Let's go to that of functions briefly. The first one is a declarative statement. That is a sentence that states a fact. Simple as ABC, it states a fact. And mind you, it ends with a period. That is a full stop. I want to say it affirmatively that all sentences that are declarative end with what? They end with a full stop. Note it and put that somewhere so you can remember always. You can see all these sentences. They are all starting with a capital letter and ending with full stop, and they all have meanings. Capital letter, a full stop, capital letter, a full stop, and you can see that they are starting with, like I said, capital letter, and they all have verbs. They have verbs in them, and they are meaningful. Read them to yourself. Read them to yourself and see how meaningful they can be. Read them to yourself. Have you done that? You should be on the second one now. Read the third one. These are meaningful sentences. Then we have exclamatory sentence. This shows strong emotion. And like we have in interjection as a part of speech, we say it is that part of speech that shows strong emotions or feelings. It expresses sudden emotion, strong one, something that happens suddenly. And like I said here, they end with an exclamation mark. Everything exclamatory must end with an exclamation mark. What a mess this room is. What a mess this room is. This is showing strong emotion because you just suddenly got to the room and saw that it was messy. Wow. Imagine you baking a birthday cake for your friend, getting there, the baby of the house has poured the cake away. Wow, you shout, the cake is ruined. The cake is ruined. That shows emotion. Like I said the other time, how I would love to go to Manchester. You've seen the picture on the internet, you've seen the videos on the internet, and you so much love the place. You express yourself emotionally, and that comes under exclamatory sentence. Then we also have the interrogative sentence. This is used to ask a question. They are used to ask questions. And like you expect, every sentence that asks question must end with a question mark. When a question does not end with a question mark, it's like preparing a very good dish, bread and tea without butter. Who does that? So every question must end with a question mark. And most times they start with WH. WH. How you gonna keep them down on the farm when they have seen party? You try to read the remaining two by yourself. You see how such a complete sentence they are. And you can see the question mark at the end of each statement. Then the last one is the imperative sentence or statement. Mind you, this gives order, gives direction, and most times they can end with either a full stop, or an exclamation mark. For example, you want to order someone to sit down and listen. And when you play your pranks in class and you get on my nerves, you know the way I shout. At times I should not do that, but to make me do it, I shout, sit down and listen to me. That is definitely an imperative statement. Or when you anger mommy or dad, make that woman hungry. They shout at you, and you sit up. Fasten your seatbelts when the light is illuminated. That is more or less an order, a soft order. Fasten your seatbelt when the light is illuminated. Then you can see this is not declarative. Although it's having a full stop, it's not declarative because it is not stating a fact. Note that. Go away immediately. Go away immediately. That is an order, and that makes it imperative. Then let's examine them in summary form. You can see on the summary form, this tells you something, ends with a full stop. This asks a question, ends with a question mark. This shows strong feelings, ends with what? Exclamation mark. This gives a command, and it can end with a period or an exclamation mark. This is just a summary of everything I've been saying so far about sentence type based on their function. And let's see the snap test now. I'll give you 5 minutes to write out 3 examples of each sentence type I've discussed. 3 examples. Write out 3 examples each. 3 for declarative, 3 for exclamatory, 3 for interrogative, and 3 for imperative. You have 5 minutes, your time starts now. I'm still with you in class. You have 5 minutes. Your time starts now. Even you can do that in less than 5 minutes. 3 examples each. And this must be submitted not later than 30 minutes after the class. You submit, snap, and send to my email immediately after the class. Anything more than 30 minutes after the class, I will not acknowledge. I will not acknowledge. So I'll be expecting this answer immediately after the class. My email is dapper.orimoloye@greenlandall.org. I want these answers immediately this class ends. I'll give you a grace of 30 minutes to tally them up and send them. Anything more than 30 minutes, forget it. I will not acknowledge it. And I promise anybody who can do his or her own diligently, I owe you a gift when we resume. I promise you that. Let's go on now while you do your snap test. Let's go on. So to save time, let's go on to save time. And let's go to types of sentences based on structure. Please, you can pause your snap test for a while. Continue after the class because this part is very crucial. Very crucial. The first is a simple sentence. I once told you in clauses that a simple sentence is the same thing as an independent clause. A simple sentence contains one independent clause. That is, it contains a subject and a verb. And it's what? Expresses a complete thought. Let me put it this way. Simple sentences are always short. Short. Mostly a line. Mostly a line. So it's very hard to write a simple sentence of 2 or 3 lines. Very, very hard. Because you're going to be adding some other things that will make it complex or compound. So the best thing is make your simple sentence short. And like I said, it must have just a subject and a verb. Like we have here, Mary. That subject, likes. The verb. Simple sentence. Simple and short. The earth, the subject, goes, the verb, and simple and short. Simple and short. Mary, the subject, did not go, the verb, and it's as simple and short as anything. This is a simple sentence. You can see no conjunctions. It's added, although you can, at times you can add, but let me give you where you can add a conjunction. When you have Mary and Chide are friends. Hello? This is still a simple sentence, even with the conjunction here. Mind you, this is the subject and the verb. Like I said, simple and short. Then let's go to sentence type based on structure using the compound sentence, the compound. This is when you have 2 independent clauses, that is 2 main clauses joined by a conjunction or a semicolon. They are joined by a conjunction or a semicolon. Let's put this first example. If I go there, let's see examples of conjunction that you can use. These are the examples you can use. We call them coordinating conjunction. These 7 examples are the examples of conjunctions that you can use to join your independent clause to another independent clause. They have it here. This is a sentence on its own, another one on its own. This is a sentence on its own, another one on its own. This is a sentence on its own, another one on its own. Mind you, 2 sentences. They must be 2. Forget the issue of more. We'll come to that later. Forget the issue of more. There must be 2. Compound. 2. Then you have here, this is joining them. This is joining them. This is joining them. Can I move on? I like coffee and Mary likes tea. two independent clauses becoming one. Mary went to work, but John went to the party. Two clauses becoming one. Our car broke down, we came last. Two clauses becoming one. Then let's try the compound sentence. Complex one. When a sentence is complex, it must have an independent clause. An independent clause with a dependent clause. I will say it can be one or more dependent clause. But mind you, it must be just one, and independent. This can be two or more dependent clause. That is what a complex sentence is. Complex. And to note a dependent clause, which is also a subordinate clause. Subordinate. I told you the last time we spoke about clauses. Subordinate clause. They are introduced by all of this. All of this. These are subordinating conjunctions that we use in introducing subordinate clause. In short, here is the main clause. When she hears a voice is the subordinate clause. So joining a main clause to subordinate clause makes it what? A complex sentence. He left in a hurry is the main clause. This is the subordinate clause. You get that? And they become complex because they have been joined together. Then, do you know that the man who is talking, do you know the man is the main clause and this is the subordinate clause? Mind you, I said we can get one that has more than this. Let me give you a sentence that has more than one dependent clause. I ran after him when he was buying gala because it has expired. This is a sentence that has a main clause and two independent clauses. This is the main clause. I ran after him is the main clause. When he was buying gala is a subordinate clause because it has expired is the other subordinate clause here. Try something on your own about this. Is that okay? Then the last one is the compound complex. Yes, before I go to the compound complex, that's the difference here. I have highlighted here the difference between an independent clause and a main clause. I've highlighted it here. I said the main clause and main clause can function on its own. See it here? Then dependent has to be attached. I told you before, it has to be attached to another part of the sentence to function on its own. Then compound complex now. It consists of two independent clauses, and one or more subordinate clauses, one or more. Like we have here. John didn't come. That is a main clause. Because he was ill. This is a subordinate clause. Mary was not happy, a main clause. You can see this has two main clauses with one subordinate clause. He left in a hurry, a main clause. After he got the phone call, a subordinate clause. But he came back in 5 minutes time, a main clause. Main clause here. This is a main clause also. Then this is a subordinate clause. And lastly, though Michelle prefers watching romantic film, this is a subordinate clause. He rented the last spy thriller. This is the main clause. And he watched it very much. This is a main clause. The sentence there is started with a subordinate clause. Let's see a brief overview of everything I've been saying so far as regards sentence type based on structure. Simple sentence, look at it there. One independent clause, compound, one independent, then one or more what? Dependent, should be dependent. Then here we have complex as one dot, one independent, then one or more dependent. Here should be two independent clauses. Okay, I did a mistake. I understand why I did this. Two independent clauses. That is what it's about. And the last one is two independent clauses with one or more what? Dependent clause or clauses. You can see examples here. You can see more examples here in this column. Go through them, study them your own. Then in conclusion, like I said, sentences start with capital letter and the full stop, exclamation mark or question mark. I said the largest unit of any sentence, of any grammar, the largest unit. I said it's meaningful on its own. I said it can be simple, complex, compound, or compound complex. I said it must have subject and predicate. And I've explained their types based on function. And I've also explained based on structure. The function has to do with the grammatical role they play. That's a function. Then the structure is their components, their makeup in the paragraph or in sentence form. Lastly, lay your hands on this reference material, read them, and be more equipped with more knowledge about sentences. And for my assignments, state each of the type of sentence listed above based on structure. You tell me their types based on structure. She completed our literature review. Is a simple sentence. I'm doing this for you as an example. It's a simple sentence. Why? Because it has only one subject, she, and one verb. And it's straightforward and short. So the remaining 6, do them on your own. The person with the highest mark will be announced and will be given a gift against resumption. So please try and lay your hands on this and do them on your own. I want to say a big thank you for listening to me attentively. Please do my assignments, send your snap tests in very shortly, and do further research on this topic. Stay cool, stay blessed, and remember that I love you all. God bless you.